Hey everyone, this is Dr. Drizzle, and welcome to the Ohio State Parks Expedition Challenge. Today we are in Hocking Hills State Park. Now there are many places to explore here, but we're going to look at Old Man's Cave, at Ash Falls, at Cedar Falls, at Cantwell Cliffs. We're going to look at sandstone and see how it's made and what it's used for. Today we're going to create buildings out of different materials. You are going to be the engineers who figure out which materials are best for the buildings. But before we do that, let's look at what we can find at Hocking Hills State Park. This is amazing. So what are the basic elements of our Earth's crust? Minerals, rocks, and soils. These are the materials that make up the ground we walk on. These materials hold together lakes and rivers and oceans. These are actually the materials where plants grow and where we build our roads and buildings and parks. We build tunnels through these materials and we build bridges over them. These materials are collectively known as rocks, soils, and minerals. These three materials are the main components of our Earth's crust. So what is the difference between rocks, soils, and minerals? Minerals are non-living things and have a definite crystal-like structure. An example of a mineral is salt. Have you ever looked at salt closely? Did you notice that each individual grain has a shape to it? Salt is an example of a mineral. Rocks are usually several minerals stuck together. In fact, it's easier to find a mineral embedded in a rock than on its own. Rocks can also contain other things like fossilized plants or animals. Rocks are labeled by how they are formed. We have sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic rocks. Lastly, soils are collections of very small pieces of rocks that were broken down over time. They contain things like decaying plant pieces. Soils are typically identified by texture and how large the particles in the soil are. There are three different textures of soil: sand, silt, and clay. There are lots of other important uses for rocks, soils, and minerals. We use rocks, soils, and minerals to construct a lot of things we use on a daily basis. Some of the minerals we use that are actually considered rocks, soils, or minerals include metals like gold, copper, silver, aluminum, concrete, ceramic, clay, sand, gems, salt, drywall, and glass. Engineers use all these materials when creating everything from buildings to roads, to cars, to cell phones, to computers, to medicines. Rocks, soils, and minerals are incredibly important to us in our daily lives. So let's review a few building materials before we begin our STEM challenge. First of all, let's talk about igneous. Rocks that formed from liquid magma. Metamorphic. Rocks formed when an igneous, sedimentary, or metamorphic rock is altered by the heat and pressure deep within the earth. Sedimentary. Rocks that are formed when soil deposits become compacted over time and eventually cement together. Silt is soil particles that are smaller than sand but larger than clay. Silt is smooth but does not become sticky when wet. Sand. Large soil particles that feel rough, but they drain water very well.
Got sand? You probably do in your kitchen pantry. Sand is defined as any material made up of grains within a specific size range. Sugar and sand typically qualify. The most common type of sand is silica. It's made of quartz crystals that have broken down to about 1 millimeter in diameter. Here on the beach, we find silica sand mixed with fragments of coral, shell, and other material of biological origin. While sand of all sorts is usually made by material breaking down into smaller pieces, in water with high concentrations of calcium carbonate or certain other minerals, the opposite can happen. A tiny particle gets coated over time by the minerals, resulting in a special type of sand grain called an oolith. Humans use sand as a construction material, mining huge quantities of it to make concrete. So, how did we get sandstone at Hocking Hills? Well, Ohio used to be covered in water. We know this because we have found sea animal fossils all over Ohio. This was quite a while ago. Some scientists say over 500 million years ago. The transformation of soft sediment to hard rock is one of those fascinating geological journeys that we actually can't witness directly. It takes place deep within the Earth's crust over time. You see, sandstone is a sedimentary rock. It is a rock made of compacted sand. Sandstone is converted into quartzite through heating and pressure. This happens when the rocks are squeezed and heated under a mountain chain. Now that we know more about sandstone, let's end with a few facts. Sandstone is a versatile building structure and has been used to construct buildings, statues, and fountains. Sandstone is popular in constructing buildings because it is resistant to weathering. Sandstone can form under the sea or on land. And because sandstone is porous, it can serve as a filter in nature by filtering out pollutants from running water. Sandstone is often broken down and used as industrial sand. Groundwater can be transported by underground sandstone. And sandstone rock can take thousands of years to form. So how can we make a difference? Sandstone is classified as a non-renewable resource because sandstone takes thousands of years to form. There are negative effects on the environment from mining it. The volume being extracted is having a major impact on rivers, deltas, and coastal and marine ecosystem. It results in loss of land through erosion, lowering of the water table, and decreases in the amount of sediment supply. Extraction can also have an impact on biodiversity, water table levels, and landscapes. Mining of aggregates in rivers can change the riverbed and increase flood frequency and intensity. The existence of river ecosystems is threatened in a number of locations. So again, what does that mean for Hocking Hills? Go out, enjoy the hikes and trails, gaze at the rocks, the waterfalls in nature, admire that beautiful sandstone, but leave it there. Say no to graffiti. Take a photo and carry that home with you.
So now back to that STEM challenge. As we said before, today you are going to create buildings out of different materials, 3 to be exact. You're going to be those engineers and you're going to make sure that the materials that you are using work well for the purpose. We can't wait to see what you create. So kids, are you ready? Let's get building.
Wow, it's been an amazing day at Hocking Hills State Park. You need to visit. If you want to bring your family, this place is open year-round. You can camp, you can hike, you can bike, you can picnic. Just a great place to come and be out in nature. We can't wait to come back with another adventure with the Ohio State Parks Expedition Challenge. This is Dr. Drizzle. See you later.